Greetings to you, handsome sires and beautiful ladies. So, I promised a few days ago that I will commit a video about both sisterhood groups within the Imperium and present my ideas on improving them as a fine substitute for the gradation of already established Space Marine lore. Well, today's the day, so join me, fellow women enjoyers, as I present to you 3 ideas for new parts of lore regarding Sisters of Silence, and more importantly, Sisters of Battle. Because while among the Astartes there are many shades of then among sisters it's preferable for you to not have globules, no matter their holiness, and their color shit is only in one. And that shouldn't stay as it is. Sisters of Silence. Katakan Amazonians. Death. Every step you take on that accursed planet is a near-death experience. There are no worse places in the galaxy than the accursed Terra Maledicta known as surface of Katakan. This bloodthirsty jungle, this mean and mischievous grin of every animal and unprovoked malice of every plant breeds the most animalistic of pure human soldiers for Astra Militarum. Yet, even they get away when they get the chance. That's how unruly and inhospitable is their home planet. Yet even the highest parts of the food chain, designated only for the most ferocious of beasts, sometimes has to check on themselves, because even they have learned after these many years to fear the fall of silence. Amazonians are the mythological tribe of ancient Greek women that were... Yep, for the sake of the channel I can tell you all of this, but I will leave the link in the description. But also, Amazonian is the river, in the middle of the green hell that is Brazil. The chain of correlations and half-adequate associations make it viable for this kind of soldiers, this branch of Sisters of Silence to be exact, to exist. Why them? Well, there are 2 big lore reasons why. First one is pretty clear. The SOS have the raw potential and skill to kill and dominate the abominations that scour this land. They can go toe-to-toe with tyrannies who normally are too intelligent for being a bug. Well, to be just a bug, that is. Yet, our beloved silent sisters, by their mere presence, tend to turn down their IQ, because while being next to them, the hive mind loses its influence on its bugs, so the animal starts to act like it should. That's why I'm absolutely sure that if SOS got themselves on the Katakan, they would survive without any problem. Second argument for them being there is the only reason why the decision could ever be made. I remind you that these particular sisters are part of the Adeptus Custodes, and by that they operate outside of other Adeptus, like Ministrorum, Militarum or even the Inquisition. It is not unreasonable that after Custodes decided to finally do something after, 10,000 fucking years of wasting time, some of the sisters said, "Hey, I understand that we are the best of the best, but the sanitized walls of the Imperial Palace are too easy training ground for us, and we need to be better. We are going on a summer camp." This decision would result in an elite within the elite of the higher class chapter of Holy Tomboy Supreme. Ones that are not heavy infantry against everything reliant on the warp, but also gives us a unique possibility for a new narrative. Imagine 24 of Sisters of Silence that go on a covert mission to kill some of the high command of the Chaos ground forces. Imagine how effective guerrilla combat would have been for them. They could sneak to the seers and wizards of the foul heretics and kill them without wizards defending themselves. If you know Fantasy Warhammer, then you may remember Oxyotl, the skink that terrorized the Chaos forces in their homeland. I know that Supreme Grandmaster of Grey Knights chapter, Kaldor Drago, plays the same role, but honestly, it's just different vibes. Also, something special, because I will throw in some of my ideas for their tabletop presence. Them and every other sisters that I will be talking about today. The Katakan Amazonians, in my vision, would be the scouts type of a character. They would have improved movement with stealth on top of their anti-cycle tag sheet. It would work in 3 up to 6 miniatures per squad, and they all would use some kind of spear weapon in change of their Zweihanders. Also, the cost. I'll sell 140 points. If you wish to tell me how wrong I am, the comments belong to you. Make use of them, but do not post yet, because you may want to edit that. after you hear my 2 ideas for Sisters of Battle. Sisters of Battle, Wolves and Shield Maidens.
How fucking cold can it get? Come on, there has to be some place to wait for this freezing storm.
Many now dead people thought of that, a few hours before they breathed their last. Fenris is an insufferable host, just as her sons, as it seems, also her daughters, the witches, wolves as they are called in these cold lands, have a unique amount of wisdom and connection to their home world. How do they gather that knowledge? They listen to their elders, they live through the cravings of Fenris, and if they are devout enough to the golden father of their lost wolf king, they gather into the pilgrimage to Holy Terra. Many of them don't come back. They leave to join the Shield Maidens, congregation focused on 2 most important things: pillage and plunder of Xenos and Chaos in his holy name. Among Sisters of Battle, as Pancras No Work said in the video dedicated to them, the only aesthetic that persists through the time and space are none with a gun, of the order of our martyred lady. Yes, that's the main reason why we all love them. Still, some things can be added. And while by myself I'm not the biggest fan of Space Wolves, the idea of both Shield Maidens as a main melee tanking force and wolves chanting the thunderous Fenris temper on the enemy's head as if it was an artillery strike, going hand to hand with a classic nuns on the flanks and shooting the enemy, it goes incredibly hard and you can't say that it isn't. Of course, lore-wise there would be conflicts, but there are always conflicts, aren't there? The main idea behind them was, how do I give them more firepower and more melee? Because Miracle Dices are a great system, I like it very much, and having a designated component for using them on pure melee and tanking brings up that bit of balance. I plan them on having shields based around the slab ones, and they would be using power axes. Aside of normal axes, of course. Also, yeah, some wolves are character artillery, because we don't have enough character artillery. 72 inches indirect hit, d6 of attacks, power 8, 5 wounds. But, like I said, only some. I also have an idea for buff characters, wolf singers to be exact. They would be singing and give out an aura of +1 to defense rolls for every aligned squad in the distance of 6 inches to them. Other would give +1 to attack rolls. And all of them would be in a full armor, or other pseudo-pagan Viking larpy suits of armor, so if they have no shield, their armor is shit. Just for balance. Okay, the last sisters. The Sisterhood of Kitmen. Infiltration, interrogation, information, immolation. In the lowest levels of Hive City there is only darkness. And in the darkness, the evil grows. Amongst the hungry and forgotten, the chaos rises. It's impossible to hear praise to the Emperor in these places, as they are crushed between the heretical chants. But they are still there, his worshippers. He's faithful, and wherever they can, they fight the corruption back, even if it means that their body and mind got desecrated. If that's what they have to offer for salvation of their soul, then let it be. I called it Sisterhood of Kitmen because of where my main inspiration came from. Within the Muslim culture, Kitmen is hiding your faith to avoid persecutions. At the start, they were literally female infiltrators of the cults in the lowest, most forgotten parts of the Hive cities. They gather information, scar their body with symbolism to avoid detection, but they keep their faith intact. Many cults would have fallen because of them, both of Chaos and Genestealer origin. You ask how? Well, they would gather info and give it to the local policing force, like Adeptus Arbitis, or Imperial agents, or the other gangs that would have been a tad bit lesser chaos-driven than their target. Many times the sister dies during the slaughter, but sometimes they live. Then they go to the other cults of the same profile and join them as the higher rank, just to repeat the cycle. But sometimes the cults succeed in defense. What then? Well, then the sister blows herself up to clean the plate, or to hinder it beyond rebuilding. Very grimdark, I know. But Krzyzak, how will it work on the tabletop, you ask? Well, it's easy. I would make them an order. For 3 command points, you get to choose at the end of any shooting phase a unit which wounds are lesser than half of what it had on the start of the battle. You then roll the d6 dice and count the rolled number plus 3. Then the opponent makes 5+ save for every wound, no matter the toughness. Every wound dealt by that is lethal. Damage ranges here from, well, 0 to 18, which is enough to put down Mortarion, but that's also why it's a free CP. Also, for balance reasons, the order can be used only once per game, so it can be strong opening on the second turn, just as well as an 8 in the sleeve during the last turns of the battle for the last points. So, these were my ideas. Were they good? Were they bad? It's up to you, and you tell me in the comments why. Shout out to all the female wrestlers for inspiration for my imagery. I'm still not skilled enough to say that it's an art, but it's still something that I could do myself, and that's always a great day when I don't have to use an AI to make a video. Also, if you want me to make more content, then leave a like and subscribe, and the more will happen one day. Until then, see ya.